2020 has really been a unique year. I think about, I think about like I think about last year or like the years before, like why it's different. And I think the main thing is that, like this year, we weren't able to go and be with our families. And it was rough. And especially when your family is going through tragedies, it's even more rough than that. Like it's like you're stuck and you can't do anything. You can't help anyone. You can't go over there and help them out because it's just dangerous. And, usually around this time, people are thinking about, they're excited about their gifts and they're ready to, and they're with their families and traveling and all that chaos of, buying stuff for people and being with your family and like doing all the family drama and all that kind of stuff. You kind of miss it when you don't have it. So like, but I think like the main thing for me is always the New Year's resolution. It's always like, yeah, I'm going to go, make whatever X amount of dollars and, I'm going to go to the gym more often and I'm going to go to boxing and stuff more often. And it's like, you make all these plans and you make all these things that you think you're going to do. And then at the end of the day, it's just they're sort of little lies that you tell yourself. So you feel better and you feel like you're heading in a direction that is going to be better for you in the future. You're going to have you plan on having a better like quality of life. You can go and do cool stuff with your friends or, whatever you want to do, whatever is your goal. Like just the process of making that is exciting, even if it's a lie. And when you're younger, those things that you think about are, you don't really understand like the entire spectrum of what it's going to take to accomplish that goal. All the little mini details that go into some of those things. Like for instance, going to, like if you're going to become like a YouTuber, right? You're like, I'm going to become a YouTuber and I'm going to be a streamer. I'm going to make a video. I'm going to make videos. I'm going to make, I'm going to stream. I'm going to do all that stuff. That's in your head. So Christmas time, you've told everyone in your family to buy different pieces of your PC that you're building, and you get everything and you're all set up, right? Everything is cool. You have your goal of becoming the next streamer. You're not going to be working for anyone anymore. You're just going to be making content. Say that's like your goal. I think it's easy for all of us to think about that because, it's kind of a trend in a lot, for a lot of us, it is a goal. But for me, I don't have that goal anymore. It's just like I learned sort of through time and experience what it means to do that. What sort of things you're going to have to deal with even when you get that sort of role. It's rough. It really is rough because people are just, I don't understand some people. Like some people are just angry. Some people like literally, and you'll never understand why they're like that. Some of those people they come from like broken homes. Some of those people, they come from They might have health issues. They might be in pain. They might be diabetic and have too much sugar in their blood. Or they might be, they might have high blood pressure and they don't understand it. They're not on medication and stuff like that. Or, you never know. They might have had someone recently pass in their life, or you just don't know. So you start running into these people though when you start to do your YouTube career. So like you start seeing their comments. But also know that in your head, these are real people with valid comments. Like if you piss somebody off and they care enough to write a comment, you should at least read it and at least understand that that is just one of your comments and one of your critiques. But some people need a lot of those types of comments in order to really understand what's going on. Some people might say your videos suck. Well, that's feedback. That's their opinion that your videos suck, right? And then now you're getting to a point where you're like, man, everyone just hates me. When it might just be that your videos do suck. Maybe you need to work on editing. Maybe you need to work on something to make the videos more watchable, but they can't express it to you, but they're telling you something's wrong. Right? So that's one of the things you run into is comments. Second thing you'll run into is people who, like, say you are streaming Siege, right? And you watch it all the time. When you watch like those guys that are those huge streamers, they get stream snipers. You get stuff like that. And this is like audience stuff. Wait till you get into the technical stuff. So you get into DMCA claims. You get strikes on your videos. They start telling you that you can't use music anymore. They start telling you that, that you need, everything you do has to be, you can't cuss. You got to mark your stuff. Those are also things that you will have to learn as you're making your way through this YouTube career. Then you start thinking, oh, I've got to hire someone, I've got to edit, and I don't have time to edit and record and do all this and do my school and my work and all that stuff, right? Go to do your job or whatever. So it's like so much. So you start asking for help. Someone comes and helps you. Eventually you hire that person to do all your editing and videos. And now this person is asking for, a percentage, or like asking for higher pay, or they get offers from somebody else who says that, they're willing to pay them. And then that person becomes an editor for multiple channels and you're no longer their priority. All these little things that go into making a channel that you don't really think about when you say that New Year's Eve, like when you say that New Year's resolution, I want to be this streamer. Or you say something like, I want to be, I want to be, you're like at the end of the year, I want to completely change my body. I want to be super muscular. I want to, have like just an incredible figure, right? That's what your goal is. And you start getting into it. All of a sudden, you don't have the right shoes. You don't have equipment. Now it's COVID. And, the gyms are really risky. They're high risk. So then you start looking up, weight stuff that you can do at home, and you start doing that, and that's not efficient. So then you need to buy equipment. Then you start spending a lot of money on a home gym and blah, blah, blah. Eventually at the end of around like February is when, March is when people quit. And it's because they start to see realistically what it's like to be that type of person, and they start to understand why they are where they are. And it's like, if you go through enough hobbies and you go through enough New Year's resolutions over time, you just learn that New Year's resolutions are just lies. They're just lies you tell yourself so that you can say that, you're moving in a positive direction, when really you might not be, when really you should probably take account for what you have and sort of adjust and improve on those things, because you already are perfect. Wow, that's crazy. Because you already are perfect. You are the person that you really want to become. You just don't know it yet. And you won't know until way later in life, when you're like, something pops up and they ask you to do something, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, I'm a natural at this. And then all of a sudden, you start figuring out other venues of things that you didn't even think about, because you were so caught up on these very, it's almost like the world likes to, the world is all about marketing, right? So marketing this for this product, even live streaming is just really just marketing for you guys to stay on the Twitch website, saying that you can become a streamer, right? You're going to become a streamer. Well, you can't create your own platform because no one will go on there. So you use Twitch. You're making Twitch money. You really are. Twitch and the advertisers are sitting there just making money off of you, and you're sitting there struggling, streaming for 12 hours a day, getting by on $20 a day if you're lucky. And it's rough. It really is rough. But out of the millions of people who try, maybe 1,000 or less will make it to where they can survive off of it and thrive and stuff like that. And then amongst those people, there's only very, very few that actually become big streamers and get big money and have big events. And then out of those, there's very, very few that actually, retire off that stuff and do all that and, venture on to different things. And a lot of them have to adjust and do multiple jobs, do multiple venues. They have to start selling merch. They have to start taking advantage of all of the deals that come their way. They can no longer just make their own original content. They really are catering their stuff to marketing, and all that money is really just the advertisers playing on that website, making money off of everybody. So, would you rather be the streamer, or would you rather be the advertiser? Would you rather be Tide? Or what is that? The NZXT guys? Would you rather be the NZXT computer guys? Making all kinds of money off of making these little deals and stuff with streamers, saying, no, you could have your own computer package. The GFXLab NZXT computer package. Stream Mindcraft, just like GFX. Right? That's an example of what, I'm not sponsored by them or promote, there's no promotion from me, but what I'm saying is that's kind of an example of what would happen is you start getting into that realm. Anyway, let's backtrack it all the way, because that's way far. That's people that are incredibly lucky and skilled and talented and work their asses off to get there. They work for 20 years to get there. 15, 10 years is nothing to them for streaming. And that's a lot. That's a lot of time spent working on that. But it's what they love to do. And I think about that, and it's when you go back to your New Year's resolution and you look at those things, do you really understand the impact of what you're asking for? Because the universe will give you, most of the time will give you what you want, but you really got to put the work in to actually receive it. It's the universe will throw a grape towards your mouth, but you have to actually physically catch it with your mouth. You have to actually go out and reach and, catch it. However you want to do that, like, is up to you. But like, you really have to put the effort in to actually do it. And people just don't understand the weight of their decisions. Another thing is people don't really understand the weight of their words, the weight of what they actually say. There's a lot of impact in words. Words are essentially magic. When somebody says something, your mind can either accept it and make it real, or your mind can put it aside and make it not real and make it fiction, whatever. But if you make that, if something like, if someone gets to you and gets in your mind, there's a few things there. One is, they're probably telling you something that you've already thought about yourself. If you think about it that way, it's not the word that they're telling you that is affecting you. It's whatever you are thinking about pertaining to that word that's affecting you, right? So if someone really, gets under your skin, that's because that is actually a truth for you and actually something that you need to look at and really explore, because there could be something there that you need to learn and something that you need to adjust. But like I said, it's up to you to make that distinction. And you can create whatever you want. You just have to think about it, and you just have to use the appropriate words to get to that. Really, for me, communication is everything. Life is just constant communication. Communicating between, even when you wake up and you start brushing your teeth, you're communicating with your teeth and the brush and the toothpaste. Even the jar and the tube of toothpaste, the toothpaste consistency itself, you understand that this toothpaste will squeeze out of this metal tube that's been, that's been manufactured for this exact reason. The people who manufactured that toothpaste, they designed and built it that way for certain, for you. Like the communication they communicated using their products, you're communicating to your teeth using their products. And the communication after that is that you'll have fresh breath. And when you communicate to other people, they won't say that your breath smells like shit. Right? So in my opinion, everything is communication. You're communicating constantly with your dog. Right now on your computer, you're communicating. And if you'd like to communicate with me, put it in the comments. I thought about doing a Discord, and I created one, but I need to figure it out. I need to set one up properly and do it justice, and not just create a Discord for the sake of having a Discord. But anyway, that's aside from the point. What I'm trying to get at is that the universe is constantly communicating with you, whether that's through people or whether that's through actions. But you're asking the universe for something, right? And you don't want to lie. If you don't ever plan on getting, if you don't ever plan on actually putting work into your New Year's resolution, then you're not communicating with the universe right. You need to communicate with the universe what you actually want, and it'll come if the universe will give you a chance to do it, but you really have to communicate correctly. So I think about, 2020 and and COVID and coronavirus came from bad communication. The coronavirus came from people in China who did not, the government and like the government there, the way it's structured and the way that they handle their people and like the laws and all that kind of stuff just did not help their people. And they're so overpopulated that poverty is a real thing there. So when people are poor like that, they don't have money for, to go to the grocery store and buy bread and cheese. They can't go to the grocery store and, buy, get some water and get some snacks. They can't do that. They have to figure out other ways to eat and keep themselves alive. So they end up eating whatever is around. Rats, bugs, anything that crawls and has meat on it, they're going to eat it because it's the only resource they have to them that's available. And it's also like a culture thing. But, a lot of it really has to do with poverty. And even now, even when the coronavirus is out, it's still about cleanliness. It's still about people not spitting, and, it's still about people cleaning their hands and washing their hands and not touching their face and not spreading their germs all over the place, right? But people are still ignorant. They still want to do it because of whatever. They claim that the coronavirus is infringing on their rights. Well, you're infringing on everybody else's life by not being cautious and with improper communication, really. So I think about that, and in my opinion, New Year's should be a time when you start to cut off communications with things that aren't positive in your life. If there's something that you don't feel good about, if there's something that you really don't feel is positive or is putting you in like a better place in life, is not increase or improving your quality of life, then it's time to cut those things out. And it's time to really adjust and make changes and try new things. It's, like people always get hung up on certain things, and they get hung up on, certain people or certain events, or like people really get attached to certain things that they do. Maybe one thing you love to do is, let's see, what's a good one? So maybe one thing that you love to do is like, trying to think of a very specific COVID one. Say one thing that you like to do is go through self-checkout. Well, self-checkout is really hard right now because you have to touch all these interfaces and stuff, right? It's really annoying, and they do their best to like spray stuff down between customers, but they're not perfect, and plus like how clean are those rags? How clean are those people? Like, what are they doing? Are they just spreading the disease around? I always think about those things in my mind, because that's like, I don't know. I won't get into the details of that, but it's like, let's just say like, I'm just very keen about those things, and it really has to do with my job. Like my job is about tracking certain diseases and stuff like that. Or part of it is. So I think about that, and then I look and I observe all these people and the way that they're touching these things, and it's really scary. So like you change that pattern, and instead of going to those machines, like I usually go to a person bagging, and I always look at their gloves and the way they handle things, and that's how I choose the cashier that I'm going to work with. But you have to change that, you change. So you can't go to, because I love self-checkout. Why? Because I'm so much faster than, a lot of, I bag things faster. I feel like I'm more conscious about what I'm going to bag with what. and I can figure it out, and I can put it in my car perfectly, and everything is clean, and it's easier to clean, in my opinion, the way I bag stuff and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so that's why I love self-checkout. But because of coronavirus, I've been switching it up, and now I have to communicate to these people. I don't want my raw, chicken or whatever in the same bag as whatever, like as the bread, because I've seen that once, and I was so mad. But like, that kind of stuff happens, and it's just communication. It really is all communication. And I told the guy that was bagging, I was like, you really got to like learn, because you don't want to spread these. And I started telling him about listeria and all those, like all these different types of diseases that can be passed on from ready-made foods to, stuff like raw meat and all that. But anyway, that was bad communication from his manager to him, or from the training that he received. And that was just sort of that was the main issue. But, it's just like, it forced me to switch from going into like doing self-checkout to cashiers. And I thought about that, and it's like there's a lot of things that I have to adjust now just because of COVID. But some of those things are things that I should have been doing a long time ago, and that's what I'm thankful for. And that's what I feel like COVID is really good at, is giving us feedback on our communication with Mother Earth. With nature, because nature is the one really that is saying like, you really need to clean your act up. Like, that's literally what it's saying, is like people really need to think about the things that they're doing. So I think about this as like the main communication decision that I'm making around this time of year is always about New Year's resolutions. And I always end up like either giving up on them or just like halfway completing them, those kinds of things. There's not a high success rate in the world, not just with me, but like with everyone. And it makes sense. It's because people really don't understand the impact. As you get older, your goals, your New Year's resolutions disappear, or they become smaller, because you realize that a year isn't a long time to do much. I mean, you can change your life in a year, but it's still not much time. And, like, but it's just, I think about, like when I was in college, and when I was in college, I thought about like, this year I'm going to get, a job at this agency, and this agency is gonna be like my stepping stone to get to this other agency. And then eventually I'll get to this huge company, and then this huge company, like I'll be able to eventually make my way towards Apple. When I was in college, that was kind of like my mentality, is like, eventually I'll make my way towards Apple. And, but now I have friends that work at Apple, and I have people that have told me, the stories, and and I think about that time when I was a kid, and thinking about Apple, this huge, like, it's like a whole campus, and, almost like a whole town. And there's like, there's everything in there. You would never have to leave. Sounds crazy, because, it kind of is. And I'm just like, man, that's going to be so amazing when I make it there. But now, after having friends that work there, and after having all the sort of like knowings of what goes on in like the corporate America, it's not a goal anymore. But had I had my way and the universe listened, I would be a different person. But also I'd probably be really angry. I'd probably have given up design by now. because they will work you dry, and like they will make your soul disappear. And that's just how, I mean, that's just corporate life in general, because they're dealing with huge numbers, massive amounts of people. They're dealing with like tons and tons of data, and they're dealing with e-commerce and rules and regulations, and they're influencing, you know, politics around them, literally, constantly on the news. It's like, the universe knew exactly. I knew that like that wasn't going to be a good path. That's not what I was really asking for. What I was really asking for was that I wanted a design job, and the universe will see through all your lies and understand that that is what you're thinking about. And when I say universe, honestly, I mean yourself. Like, you yourself are the universe. You control what's around you. I think a lot of people don't really understand that you can put yourself wherever you want to put yourself. It's going to take a lot of work, but you can ask yourself to do it. I can be like, hey, GFX, you know, let's ramp up and let's blow the channel up again. I can say that. But do I feel it inside? Probably not. More so, what I feel like is, hey, GFX, let's just make a video, right? Let's make a video, and if it turns out great, upload it. If it doesn't, throw it out. You can always do that. No one has seen the video yet. This is your chance. I've had that conversation a lot, actually, with other videos in the past. Is like, you know, is this video even good? Should I release this? I'll watch it like 3 times. And some of those videos are like ridiculous amounts of hours long, and I'll watch them. And then I think maybe I'll edit this part out. But then it's like, no, you know, like, give me that raw. I want that raw file, because, you know, like, I want it to feel genuine. I want my videos to feel genuine with people. And that's just, you know, that's just sort of how, that's what came to the end of that. But I'm still trying to understand, like, what is it that I really want? Is it YouTube? Is it really, is YouTube really what I want? Or is there something about YouTube that I want? Is it the attention? Is it the clout? Is it the networking? Is it the opportunities? I know what it is. It's that I don't presently enjoy what I'm doing. Doesn't give me fulfillment like YouTube used to. I miss that old feeling. I miss that feeling I had when I was making dumb decisions. I miss that feeling of being so energized and so, like, having this unstoppable, like, stubborn nature deep in my soul that would force me to do things that I wouldn't normally do. You know, like, force me to, like, understand things in a different way, to research, to dig into things, to really go crazy and really understand, like, what it is about this subject. And I did all that for so many things for so long. I went through, like, a whole phase of, like, learning about dogs, and I worked at, you know, a very huge corporation that you know, I was building software for dogs and stuff like that. Like, I went and did this all these huge things for dogs, and I got a dog. Really, at the end of the day, I didn't want to be in that industry. All I wanted was a dog. When I got the dog, the job like disappeared. I didn't have the job anymore because, I was so frustrated with the job and frustrated with the people in that, at that company, that I was just making mistakes. And the reason I was making mistakes was not because I'm making the mistakes, it's because I was just unhappy. It was because I just didn't want to be there anymore. I just wanted to be with my dog, to be honest. And then, later on, different things happened like that. And I learned, like, I'm doing these huge things because I'm not communicating with myself correctly. I'm not digging down and seeing that raw. I'm not, like, feeling that real, original, authentic self. Like, had I really been, truthful with myself, I would have just went out and got a dog and kept continuing with the things that I was doing at that time because I was heading down a good path. There are other times when I get frustrated with certain people or certain things, and it's like, why? And I get it now. I have to, there are things there are things you have to do sometimes to really like understand things from a deeper perspective. And that's just stuff that you learn as you're growing up. Like, that's just stuff that you will figure out as you're making your way through and asking for these things, asking for these things from the universe, from yourself. When I say the universe, just think of yourself. You're asking yourself, your body, your mind, your brain, all those things, your lungs, you're asking all of your body parts to do this for you. When you say that you want to become a streamer, YouTuber, when you say that you want to become famous, when you say that you want to become an artist, when you want to become the next, Steve Jobs or whatever you say you want to become, when you want to become the president, whatever, CEO of your own company, all that stuff. When you say you want that, you're asking not just, your mind, you're asking your heart, your brain, your spine, everything in your body. You're asking all of the nutrients that you just ate for lunch or breakfast or dinner or whatever. You're asking all that stuff to take you in that direction for your own selfish reason. The universe is here for you. This is your life to experience. You only have one chance, and then it's over completely. It's completely over after this. Like, there's nothing to take from this. You're not purchasing something with your life. There's nothing to purchase. You own everything. You are everything. So now you need to communicate correctly so that you can enjoy all of this, no matter what's going on. No matter 2020, coronavirus, COVID, deaths in your family. All that stuff. So, what are your New Year's resolutions? Put those in the comments. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.